Welcome to the Gussets and Go Days podcast, episode number 6. My name's Christina and this is my podcast about my knitting, stitching and crafting endeavours. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'd like to jump right in with my knitting. So my first project I'd like to show was my Christmas Eve cast on. And this is, the pattern is the Wonderland Socks by Tanitha Gandy. And it's knit in Herbstblatt Regina in her Vintage Ornament collection. And you can't really see the sparkle. Can you see any sparkle? There is definitely sparkle. It's on the gold sock base. And the toe and the heel are from my Norah George advent calendar. And it's very sweet. It's got this kind of speckly, which I love, orange and blue and black. Anyway, and my Pompom Progress keeper, which has been my absolute favourite. Never taken it off my projects. I can keep it forever on everything. From my So Sweet Violet advent calendar. These ones, I only have one, because, you know, it's not that far away, the Christmas cast on, you know, we've not had that much time. I started from the toe and I did the Turkish cast on, and that was fun. And I did a slightly shorter leg than I usually do, just so it doesn't show in my boots, because I've been wearing all my hand knit socks and you can see them poking out the top, which sometimes I don't mind, but sometimes I would prefer it not, you know, depending on the outfit. That's really ridiculous, but that's fine. So there we go, there is one sock. I do prefer knitting from the top instead of the toe, from the cuff. Yeah, and I'm not sure about my cast off. It's not super stretchy. I just did the knit 2, slip one stitch over the other, knit another one, slip one over the other. But I did it in pattern, so I did the knit knit purl purl knit knit purl purl, which I prefer the edge than if I'd have done all knit. I did try that as well. It's not super stretchy, but it's stretchy enough that it goes over. I don't know, just when I do my cuff down, I prefer the edge. And I really love to do a Kitchener on the toe, which you don't get to do with the Turkish cast on, although the Turkish cast on was also fun. Anyway, lots of learning, new things, so you know, starting the year well. And that's actually all my knitting. I've not done that much knitting. I was sick for a week last week. I had terrible flu, so I just worked a lot on my Cozy Memories blanket. I got my swap from one of my knitty friends, and she sent me a cake of a ball of her scraps, so I've just been crocheting those in like crazy, but you can't actually see any growth really. And I've had to stop because actually I think I really tensioned the yarn very tight across my finger, and my finger's kind of quite sensitive now, so I think I overdid it, sick in bed, like crocheting. So I'm going to give that a bit of a break, but gosh, I spent a lot of hours on that. I also did a little bit of embroidery, so I've been working on my Floral Fields embroidery by the Thread Folk, which is super cute, and I've done a lot of work on this, a lot of hours, but it doesn't really look like very much. It's not that big, actually. Someone asked me the size. It is 18 centimetres, or in inches, 7 inches from from side to side. I really like it. I'm not super happy with the house, and I took it to work. I was working on it at work a little bit on my break. Someone was like, oh, what's that? Well, it's a house. I don't think they kind of got that. So I might unpick that and redo it. Maybe just do the outline. We'll see. I'm happy with everything else. And because there's so much going on, you can't really notice if a stitch or two is a little bit not perfect. So yeah, I cannot wait for that to pop up here. That's going to be great. I don't love embroidery as much as I love knitting and sewing, but I love the end result. So with embroidery, I would say that I am a product crafter, no, not knitter, crafter, because I really want the end result. I'm super happy once it's done. I really love to have it on the wall to admire, and I will be super proud. I mean, I'm so proud of this. I think it's absolutely stunning. I prefer cross stitch because you get to rack up all of the diagonals and then cross them off on the other way. So you only concentrate on the one side, and then on the way back, you just speed through, and you get to kind of cross them off. Well, I go through on with a pen and cross off the bits that I've done. Whereas this one is a bit more random. And the back is an absolute, look at that mess. I started off doing each bit and then tying it off, and then going to the next one and tying it off, but it was taking so much time that I've just been like jumping, jumping all over the place. You won't see it, but I'm not going to be one of the people that cares about the back of their embroidery. I'm just not going to do that to myself. I care enough about the front. And I said before that I traced it off. I laid it on a window and taped it to a window with the print off behind, and then I used a mechanical pencil and I just drew, you can see all the pencil markings. And I used, I tried to use a soluble pen and an iron-on pen. I used a few techniques, and this one worked the best. There was no bleeding, and you can't actually see the pencil marks after you've embroidered. So that came out really well. I do prefer a kit still, because it was so annoying having to go to the shop and pick them all, and then they didn't have a few of the colours and I had to substitute, and the shop was closing, and I'm spinning, it's like a rotating shelf. Well, anyway, you spin it and it's got everything lined up on it, and I was panicking because the person on the overhead is going, and the store will be closing in 5 minutes, please go to the till to make your final purchases. So I span it and loads of them all flew off. I was so embarrassed. I had no time. I needed my embroidery project. It's like an insane person. I need the floss. I kind of just grabbed them all off the floor and just put them to the side. But story of shame. The addictions of crafters. Anyway, I thought that was funny. Okay. My next project, I've only cut it so far, but this year, I've not done the Make 9 yet. I've got a couple of projects in mind that I definitely will be doing. But I don't want to commit to all 9. I know 3 or 4 projects, but for me 9, I want, you know, some room for kind of evolving, and I've grown so much with my knitting, especially over the last year. I don't want to commit to such simple projects. You know, I want to grow and maybe commit to some more complicated projects later on. But anyway, I would like to sew some loungewear because I have some lovely dresses vintage ones. This one's vintage. And some that I've made, some that I've bought and then altered, and they're all lovely. I mean, you'd think that I lived somewhere very hot if you looked in my wardrobe, and I don't. I live in London, and it's not super warm, but that's, you know, I want to wear cotton dresses and freeze. That's my prerogative. What I don't have is loungewear, so, you know, looking lovely in my dresses, and then I come home and have hideous pyjamas. So this is the first one I want to make, and that I am making. This is the Buchanan by Gather, and it came in this really lovely kind of hard envelope. And you don't just get one sheet, so you get a good overview of the pattern, goes all through your fabrics and what you need, your cutting layouts. Now, I didn't really use any of this because sewing is what I do anyway as my job, so I know how to make something simple. In fact, I could have, and probably should have, just cut this out, just drafted a pattern myself, because it's really not difficult. But I like to follow along with the pattern. I like to not think about it. I have to think in my job. So it's nice just to have all the pieces, and you know they're going to fit together, and you know it's going to look like what it's meant to look like. But the instructions are all really lovely and really clear. So yeah, so far I've cut it out. The only thing I've done differently is this lovely lady is wearing a very short dressing gown, and I want mine kind of ankle length, and it's got a split coming up the side. Maybe you can see there's a split coming up here, so I will keep the split probably knee and then down. To show you my fabric, so the fabric, I wrote it down, it's a Robert Kaufman fabric. I bought this in ages and ages and ages ago, and I thought it looked really Japanese, or Oriental in general, not Japanese specific, but I thought that was super cute. I won't do a contrast band like they have done in the pattern. I will just use my fabric, but I will do a piping in a baby blue on the edge of the cuff here, and then where the pocket is on that that seam there, I'll do a piping. And I've ordered online some piping in like a baby blue, and I'm hoping that's okay. I often regret buying things online, especially if I don't know the company. I'm happy to buy, like, I know if I go to Loop London, if I go to their website, I know that everything there has been picked by the lady that owns it, and that, you know, I know all the stuff is lovely. But when you go on eBay or Amazon, it's not the same thing. It's just a whole load of stuff by all different people, and they don't necessarily take pride in their products. And so I do try wherever I can to go either locally or with an independent boutique or online shop. I shop a lot with Cloudcraft. That's my first places I always look for if I need felt for a project, or, you know, some embroidery things, some fabric for embroidering, or the floss. I do try and always go there. I try not to get the kind of insane, I need it now. I don't think that's great. You know, I want to do kind of more slow crafting and use the things that I have, and really be slower with the project and enjoy it, and not just rush through it and just pounding out loads and loads of projects that aren't so well made, or, you know, that I regret. I probably could have finished that Floral Fields already if I'd have just, you know, even when I'm tired, oh, just keep going. And if I hadn't maybe checked that every single colour was the right one for every single flower. You know, just, oh, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. So I'm trying to really take my time. Anyway, the piping should be here this week, and I'm not sure that I'm going to like it, so that may have been a total waste. There aren't, I don't know, so many shops for notiony things. Maybe I should have a look. I go sometimes to McCulloch and Wallace. It's a little bit of a trek. If I go for work and I know I need something, then I'll pop in anyway, so may as well. So I always have like a little list of things that I maybe need that aren't super urgent, maybe interfacings or zips. I love to keep dress zips in a longer length in invisible, in white. Visible zips in, I don't know how long that is, but however long it is from the back of my neck to my hip, and I just keep those because if I use one of the very lightweight ones, it doesn't really matter what colour my dress is that I make, because the tape is it's not clear, but it's still white, but it does, you can't see it once I put a zip in. And especially if I get a silver puller, then it doesn't matter the colour of the fabric, then I can just jump straight into a project, because as I say, I don't really like to wait. Anyway, so I'm waiting on that piping, and the reason I haven't started, because these are all cut out. These are all the pieces. I haven't started sewing it together because, gosh, it's a bad idea to unfold that. The rustling is just, I'm going to put that down now. So I want to make it with French seams. So French seams, you stitch your seams on the outside, trim them, turn them inside, and then stitch again. So when you look on the outside of the garment, it looks as an ordinary seam, but when you look on the inside, all of the raw edges are enclosed in a really lovely sandwich of fabric, and you'll often find it on sheer fabric because you don't want to see the overlocking poking through. But I don't love overlocking. I often don't overlock. I would prefer to line something or to do French seams, but I'm not sure how I do a French seam above a side seam split. So I'm going to go into work maybe today and see if someone can show me. I think someone who does shirts, maybe I'll ask, because all of the tutorials that I looked online, they say that you should snip the fabric at the point where you want the vent or the split to begin, but then you will definitely have a small amount of raw fabric, and that's just a weak point, and I would really rather not have any raw kind of fibres poking out. So hopefully I will find out about that today, and then I can move on, because, you know, although I have quite a few dressing gowns, I like a dressing gown. Or a bed cape, which is another ridiculous item, but very handy when you have a chilly shoulder, just to, you know, whack on the bed cape. Anyway. Okay, so they're all the projects I'm working on at the moment, and I don't have a finished object. Shock horror. I'm quite good with finished objects usually. Oh, sorry. I had a lovely acquisition this week. So as I said, one of my knitty friends sent me a beautiful package. As I mentioned on the podcast that I wanted a swap partner, and so a few people have swapped with me, which is so kind of them. I'm all out of my minis now, so I'm going to do many more projects and then save them all up for more swaps. But Kelly sent me a really beautiful package, and she made me this lovely bag. How cute is that? Thank you, Kelly. So adorable. And she is a yarn dyer. She sent me this incredible skein. Her yarn is called Lay Family Yarn, and the shop is Lay Family Yarn on Etsy. And this is her Sanctuary colour. Oh, it's so lovely. I'm so excited. Anyway, this is one of her new colourways. She cheekily sent me these goodies. It was just meant to be the scraps. And I've never used a sock blank before. She sent me a sock blank. And her husband paints these. And they're spectacular. Look at that. And I love butterflies, as you may see. Gosh. Knitting people are so lovely. So lovely. I think it is because, that's my theory anyway, because they spend so much time working on something, especially people that gift knit. They spend so much time thinking about somebody else and putting love and care into something for somebody. Not everyone would do that. You know, you have to be quite a special person to be able to do that. And yeah, I think it just makes them naturally very generous. But I don't know what to do with these. I think there would be a beautiful Mercury sock, but maybe that's a waste. I have been being a bit ridiculous recently. So I had Christmas and I had my birthday 2nd of January, and I got some lovely woolen skeins, and I have ferreted them away. I wanted to save a few and then maybe I could combine them in different projects and not just do socks. So I will still do socks, but ooh, I really want to make a shawl. So I've been saving up my favourite skeins, and we'll see. We'll see. That's also very oh, there's definitely a theme in my colours at the moment. Anyway, put that back safe. Alright, and then I think we should end with the giveaway, if you're still here, listening to me whittering on about all sorts of rubbish. So, a little while ago, Regina from Herbstblatt Regina gifted me this beautiful skein to give away. Don't Call Me Honey, in her Hazel Soft Sock, which is my favourite base of all time. Super squidgy, and it's beautiful. And then I made a project bag, a little sock bag to go with it, with the yellow and the yellow. And the fabric I used, I thought was a little bit me. So, girls in pretty dresses, vintage notions, vintage sewing machines, pattern pieces. Oh, how sweet is that? And then I lined it with a stripe. So I thought that was a little bit Valentine's Day, kind of. So that will go in there. And then I also made 2 notions bags, one large and one small. I just need to put the drawstrings in. So, yeah. So that will be the prize for my giveaway. So I hope you like it. I've actually made a couple of these bags. I've given away some of these drawstrings and I think they've been quite well received. So I will make some to sell on an Etsy shop. A couple of people have asked me about them. So if you are interested, they are coming. I made last night 10, I think. I spent my day off making 10. They're not all finished. It takes a lot longer to make things than I think they do. But anyway, I got lots of different fabrics and I thought to support the podcast and maybe invest in some new equipment that I could sell some project bags in my spare time. Anyway, giveaway. If you would like to win this, I would like to ask you a question and then you can answer down below in the comments. So I would love to make a shawl, but I'm not a very good lace knitter and I don't enjoy knitting lace so much. So a little bit of lace I don't mind, but an all over lace, no. So if you could recommend me a pattern of either your favourite shawl or a shawl that you think I might like, ideally something that's, you know, easy. I do like symmetry, so a triangle shawl would be ideal. But just below, just leave me a comment of a shawl pattern so I can look through. I find Ravelry to be quite overwhelming when I put in a search, and there's a lot that comes up, and some of it's really not relevant, I find. So it would be nice to have your input. So that would be really kind if you would like to do that. And I will just do a random number, I don't know. You will be picked at random. I won't choose the winning entry. I'll just randomly pick. I'm not sure how you do that, but you know, that's fine. We're gonna work that out, and you will win your little package, and I'll put in a few teas and a couple of sweetie things, and then you'll receive that package with, obviously the main thing is the yarn, which is beautiful. So, you know, cute little package will be coming to you. I hope that's all right. I was thinking how to do it, and then I just went down the selfish route because I want your recommendations. I'm bribing you for it. Gosh, that sounds really funny and mean. Anyway, that's all I have for this week, so I will see you soon. You can find me. This is the bit I'm not good at. I don't know if you noticed that before. You can find me on Ravelry and on Instagram as Gussets and Go Days. So check me out there. If you wanted to say hello, that would be nice. Ravelry I don't use so much, but I do check my messages from occasionally, and I do update my projects. So it's always nice to see. I do like looking through people's projects. Instagram is what I use most. So that's it for now, and I hope I haven't forgotten anything, but I'll see you soon. So thanks a lot.